Chapter 5. Failure as a Stepping Stone. Failure, the F word we fear. Let's face it, nobody likes to fail. We have been conditioned to see failure as something to avoid at all costs. In school, failure meant a bad grade, a red mark on the paper, or a disapproving look from a teacher. In life, failure feels even more terrifying, like the end of a dream or proof that we were not good enough to make it. But here's the thing about failure. It's not the enemy. In fact, failure is one of the most powerful tools you have on the road to success. The problem is, we have been taught to see failure as a stop sign when it's really more like a speed bump. It might slow you down for a moment, but it does not stop you from reaching your destination, unless you let it. If there is one thing you take away from this chapter, let it be this: failure is inevitable. Everyone fails. The key to success is not avoiding failure, but learning how to use it as a stepping stone. Why we fear failure. So, why are we so scared of failure? It is not the act of failing itself, it's what we think failure says about us. When something does not go according to plan, we tend to take it personally. I've failed, therefore I am a failure. But failure is not a reflection of who you are. It's simply a part of the process. We also fear what others will think of us if we fail. Will people laugh? Will they judge? Will they see us as less capable or competent? The fear of failure is often really the fear of judgment, and that is why it can feel so paralyzing. But here is a secret. The people who judge you for failing are the ones who are too scared to try in the first place. The ones who have succeeded, the ones who have taken risks and failed and gotten back up, they won't judge you. They will cheer you on because they know what it's like to fall and rise again. Failure is feedback. Let us flip the script on failure for a second. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, what if we saw it as feedback? What if failure was not a sign that we should quit, but a signal that we need to adjust our approach? That is what failure really is: information. It is data that tells you what's working and what's not. Every time you fail, you gain valuable insights about what you need to do differently next time. And those insights? They are priceless. They are what turn failure into progress. If you can start to see failure as feedback instead of something to fear, you will open yourself up to opportunities you never thought possible. You will be more willing to take risks, try new things, and push past your comfort zone. And that's where real growth happens. Narrative: the failed product launch. Let's talk about Jane. Jane is a tech entrepreneur who spent years developing an innovative app. She poured her heart and soul into it, convinced that it was going to change the industry. When launch day came, she held her breath, expecting to see a flood of downloads and rave reviews. But instead, what she got was crickets. The app flopped. The downloads did not come, and the few reviews she received were far from glowing. Jane was devastated. All her hard work, all her late nights, it felt like it had all been for nothing. She seriously considered shutting the whole thing down. But something stopped her. Instead of admitting defeat, she decided to dig deeper. Why had the app failed? What could she learn from the feedback she received? She interviewed users, read the reviews, and studied the data. What she found was eye-opening. The app was not solving the right problem for her audience. Armed with this new information, Jane went back to the drawing board. She made changes, refined the app, and relaunched it 6 months later. This time, it took off. The app was a hit, and Jane's business grew faster than she ever imagined. Jane's story is a perfect example of how failure can be a stepping stone to success. If she had given up after her initial flop, she never would have learned what she needed to improve. But by using failure as feedback, she turned what could have been the end into a fresh start. Why you should fail faster. Here is a radical idea. You should fail faster. Why? Because the faster you fail, the faster you will learn. The more time you spend trying to avoid failure, the longer it takes to gather the information you need to improve. Think of it like this. If you fail at something once, you learn a lesson. If you fail at something 10 times, you learn 10 lessons. Every failure brings you closer to success because it teaches you something new. So instead of tiptoeing around failure, what if you embraced it? What if you actively sought out opportunities to fail, knowing that each one would bring you closer to your goals? This does not mean being reckless or careless. It means being willing to take risks, try new things, and experiment without the fear of failure holding you back. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you succeed. Success is built on a foundation of failure. Here is something most people don't realize. Behind every success story, there's a long string of failures. Think about it. How many famous entrepreneurs, artists, or athletes failed miserably before they achieved greatness? The answer is almost all of them. Steve Jobs was ousted from his own company, Apple, before returning to lead it to unprecedented success. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job because she was unfit for TV. J.K. Rowling faced countless rejections before Harry Potter was finally accepted by a publisher. Success is built on failure. Each failure adds to the foundation that will eventually support your success. The problem is, we only see the highlight reel, the final victory, the polished success. We do not see the messy middle, the setbacks, or the rejections. But rest assured, they are always there. Practical exercise, redefining failure. Now it is time for you to start seeing failure in a new light and use it as a stepping stone to success. Reflection. Write down a recent failure you have experienced, whether it's big or small. What went wrong? How did you feel in the moment? Now, ask yourself, what lessons can I take from this failure? What did it teach me about my approach, my mindset, or my process? Action step. Take a project or goal that you have been avoiding because of the fear of failure. Now, set a goal to fail faster. Choose one small action you can take toward that goal today, even if there is a chance it won't work out perfectly. Maybe it's making that phone call you've been hesitant about. Maybe it's submitting your work for feedback. Maybe it's making a pitch you're nervous about. Once you have taken that action, reflect on what happened. Did you fail? What did you learn? If it did not go as planned, how can you adjust your approach for the next time? Final thought. Failure is not the end of the road. It's just a bend in the path. It is not something to fear or avoid. It's something to embrace. Every time you fail, you learn. Every time you learn, you grow. And every time you grow, you get one step closer to success. So, do not shy away from failure. Seek it out. Use it. Let it be the stepping stone that leads you to the success you deserve.